girl with a suitcase in her hand. She says she'd like to meet a boy, looks like Elvis. And she walks along the edge of where the ocean meets the land, just like she's walking on a wire.
Guys, I want to talk to you a little bit about one of my favorite people that come on the show, Andrea Hall. She's a life coach, she's an author, she's a lawyer, she's a speaker, and she got her master's from the University of North Dakota School of Law. She's been... What can I say about Pete Canavan?
What went on?
Other than he's a personal safety expert, he's an author, he's a speaker.
What happened?
Guys, I'm on the air. I want to talk to you a little bit. Hold on, guys. I'm on the air right now, and I just there was a major screw up here. It went right into I was doing a commercial here, and then I was doing a setup for one of my guests who I told you was going to be on today, and then it went from one to the other, and I got to call my friend. I can't say his name on the air, but let me try that again because I thought it was a great job. If I don't say so myself. Hold on a second. What's the problem? I might have touched something. Hold on. One of my favorite people that come on the show, Andrea Hall. She's a life coach. She's an author. She's a lawyer. She's a speaker. And she got her master's from the University of North Dakota School of Law. She's been a lawyer for over 12 years. And after that, after excelling and becoming one of the best lawyers, she's like, how else can I help people? So she became a life coach through the Personal Success Institute. And, I mean, don't forget, this is somebody who's an accomplished trial attorney. She's an author. She's a speaker. She's an advocate for those who struggle and find advocates all over the world. And she started to feel frustrated with certain aspects in her career. And after the loss of her dog, Bella, Andrea took the summer off from practicing law, and that was no looking back. Because when she came back, she noticed she was exhibiting symptoms that originally present themselves as stress, and after many different attempts at treatment and everything like that, she struggled to figure out a solution. So she went for an MRI, and guess what? It showed that she had a brain tumor. So going through several different doctors, long surgery, 10-hour surgery, she received the wonderful news that she was cancer-free. But this experience showed Andrea that she needed to take more care of herself and find a career that not only paid the bills, but also fed her soul and her desire to help others. So, guys, this is the real deal. Andrea Hall. You can get one-on-one coaching sessions. You can learn how to get rid of anger and embrace true happiness, specific ways you're holding yourself back and what to do about it. There are effective tools to quiet the monkey mind, as she says, and stay focused. And the simple ways to craft goals that stretch boundaries. And in the end, they're going to motivate you. Because who doesn't want to achieve their dreams? And my friend, Andrea Hall, can do it. Go to witherswhisper.com. That's witherswhisper.com. And she will be on the show today, guys. 5 o'clock. I want you to listen right here, WMAP. We'll bring them to you. All right, guys. Hey, it's Case. I'm back live right now. And I am very proud. I'm happy. It's my honor and privilege to bring back to WMAP Miss Andrea Hall. Andrea, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. Staying cool. It's 96 degrees here in Colorado.
Oh, my God. How do the horses like 96-degree weather?
Well, you know, it's one of those things where it's cold in the morning, so they're starting to put on their winter coats. So now when it's hot during the day, it's a little bit of a struggle and a shift. But they're ready for the flies to be gone for the winter, I can tell you that.
That's awesome. Well, you know what? I was telling people about you before, and one thing I didn't touch on was this Gestalt. This Gestalt therapy. It's so cool. I gave you a background, witherswhisper.com. Now, tell me first, how did that diagnosis change your life?
Well, it was a real wake-up call. I think for me, I'm, a pretty tough person and don't always listen. And I'm sure I got messages along the way, but I wasn't listening to the pebble and the stone, and so I finally apparently needed the 2x4 upside my head to get my attention. And so, it was a real life-changing experience. I really said, if I wake up and it's not cancer, I get another bite at life here, and I'm going to do something different. And it was a struggle because I had always wanted to be a lawyer, and for the longest time it brought me happiness. Like, that's what I got out of bed every day for. However, it came to a point where getting out of bed to go do that was a struggle, and I said, no more. I need to do something that's going to bring me happiness again. Like, life is way too short. When something major, I think, happens in someone's life like that, or they lose somebody close to them, they realize that, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. In fact, I'm not guaranteed 5 minutes from now.
Right.
And so you really decide whether or not you're going to live in the moment and do things that bring you happiness again. So many times us Americans, I think, get on the hamster wheel of life and we just grind it out. We think that all we have to do is work and make a living.
And that's what you did. That's what you did when you were like, this one of the best, like at the top of your game. You were this corporate lawyer, and you are, you had so many people that were depending on you because you're the boss and everything like that, and you're the best in your field, and you hated it.
Yeah, it was a real struggle. So I didn't do corporate law, but I did criminal defense work. And so in my field, I specialized in sex offenses and domestic violence. And so, my clients were looking at life in prison. That's a heavy burden to have to carry around every single day.
I couldn't imagine. That's and I thought that, this is my silliness. I thought that when like you were like the head of a business, then that was corporate.
Oh, yeah. So that just means I put my business owner hat on for that moment in time.
Well, look, I can't imagine what kind of stress that would come in. Like, you have people, their lives. I mean, if, you have a bad day. I have a bad day on the radio. Okay, the ratings drop a couple points. Big deal. Tomorrow I'll be better. But if you didn't do your best and above, what everyone else was doing, these people were dependent on you because they could be behind bars for their life.
Yep, absolutely.
What does that do to somebody?
Well, it's very stressful, I can tell you that, and very demanding, because it's not only demanding for the client that you're working for, but, everybody is up against you. You're constantly pushing a boulder uphill. The system's against you. Of course, you have the alleged victim's family that's against you. Most of the times the jurors are against you, the prosecution's against you, the police are against you. There's not very many people sitting on your side of the aisle. It's like going to a wedding and everybody sits on the bride's side and nobody's there for the groom.
It must be so lonely, and you're not adding on there your brain and the brain tumor is against you too.
Yeah, absolutely. Physically it was draining, and ultimately got to a point where it could have virtually killed me.
And why didn't it?
Because it was discovered, thankfully, before I fell over. I was at literally the point where I probably should have been in coma, and by the grace of God, I wasn't. Wow. And
did that help you make your decision to leave what you were so good at and move on to something where you could help even more people and you've become so amazing at?
Oh, yeah, it was definitely a place where I had to make a decision because knowing I was going into a 10-hour operation and not knowing the outcome,
oh my God,
you know, it was one of those things where, like I said, it was the 2x4 upside the head for me. Like, okay, this is your wake-up call. Like, you've been miserable for a while, and you've been ignoring it. Like, what are you going to do different?
But it wasn't. It wasn't anything that you were doing that made you upset. Like, you know, you didn't have an addiction.
No.
You were just in the wrong job. You were great at it, but it was just not what you were supposed to do, right?
Yeah, there was no medical reason. It's not like my family had a history of tumors or anything of that nature. And there's nothing that, you know, assimilated after the fact to say, okay, this is why you got what you did. Your body now has this disease. I mean, no rhyme or reason. It was just there.
And, you know, that should be a lesson to everybody. I mean, like you said before, you know, no one's guaranteed tomorrow. No one's guaranteed 5 minutes from now. And,
no.
And when, you know, I know the symptoms and I know why you went, but when they told you what they had found, was there part of you that was like, you guys are fooling me? This is am I being punked? There's no way. I'm so healthy. I'm at the top of my game. Tell me about that. I mean, when they first told you that news, did you think to tell your family? Did you think to keep it to yourself? Everything goes through your head.
Well, I mean, I had actually had the MRI earlier in the day, and they alluded to me that, you know, I'd get a call from the doctor's office in a week or two, because obviously they didn't want to alarm me. And within 20 minutes of leaving the MRI facility, my phone was ringing from the doctor's office, and he was saying he needed to see me. And I was like, look, you're the one that told me that this was no big deal and that I really didn't need it.
Right.
And I'm in the middle of stuff. Like, I don't have time to drop what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And he refused to communicate with me over the phone, which was an indication to me that, you know, something was going on. And
right.
By the time I got to his office, you know, he wasn't able to put complete sentences together. And I'm thinking, you're the one that's supposed to be holding this together here, you know, like you're the professional. But I think he knew how serious the situation was and how much in danger I was and why, you know, he didn't press the issue. But there was nothing physically wrong with me. So where the tumor was in my cerebellum, which is an area that when you're intoxicated, you don't function, right? Your balance is off. You're not able to touch your nose. You're not able to walk the line. And, of course, neurologically, I didn't have those symptoms. So, of course, the doctors kept saying there's nothing the matter with me. And I said, you know, you don't just pass out for no apparent reason. Like, there has to be something the matter with me. And intuitively, I knew something was the matter, and I kept saying to the doctors, it feels like the circulation to my brain is being cut off, which is exactly what was happening. The tumor was pressing my brain down into my spinal cord, and it was not allowing the cerebral fluid to get to my brain. So anytime that there was any pressure, it would short-circuit me because the fluid wouldn't go out, and I would pass out. So I could bend over and tie my shoes. If I got up really fast from the couch or the chair or out of the bed,
vertigo,
I could pass out. But yet, like I said, because there wasn't any neurological or I didn't fit in a box, the doctors, you know, said there's nothing the matter with you. And that was the simple answer.
And did you have vertigo too? I mean, I've heard that if there's a growth in the back of it's in the back of your head, right? The back. Yeah.
The tumor was in the back of my head. But again, other than the passing out, which I'm not saying was not a big deal, that was really
it might be a little. That's kind of a big deal, Your Honor. I want a habeas corpus.
That was the only symptom that I had. Like I said, I didn't have any issues writing. I didn't have any issues walking or balancing. I had just ran a 5K, 2 weeks before they found out that I had the tumor. So again, a lot of the stuff that was going on with me was not check box marks.
Yeah,
you know?
you're not the normal case. That's amazing. So tell me, you found out about the Gestalt later, right? Or did that help you?
I had just started my training program, so I had done some horse work, and that's actually what attracted me to the type of work. Is I was referred to somebody else, and I had done some work with another person, and so I was like, "This is really interesting."
But nobody gets that certification that you got, right? I mean, nobody. They don't just hand that out.
No. It's a 2-year program. So some of the other programs, you go to some sort of a weekend event or a week-long thing, and then they give you a certification, where Melissa Pierce's program is completely different. Like I said, it's a 2-year certification program, and you also have to have continuing education credit through, the years afterwards. You just don't get a certification and then you're good to go for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. You have to have 40 credits every 2 to 3 years to keep your certification up, or she'll revoke your seal, which I think is great because, I said, a lot of other programs, you just go to a weekend event. And so she doesn't do that. It's a 2-year program where you work on all your own personal stuff so that she makes sure you're clean, so that when you're sitting in front of a client and listening to the client's story, there's never a situation where you are in confluence with them, which means that your stuff is coming up and you're not able to decipher what's their stuff and what's your stuff because you're going through the same trauma. Mm-hmm. So an example would be, I lost my father at 17, and if somebody sits down in front of me and is struggling with the loss of their father, if I haven't done my own work, potentially I'm not able to decipher what's their stuff or what's my stuff that's coming up. And so then there's this mix, and you're not able to clearly work with the client because you're basically in conflict with what they have going on because your own emotional work is not done.
Wow, I mean, so that's something I wouldn't expect, because I mean, Andrew, when you lose your father, I would think that you would be able to commiserate and to be able to help this person because you've been through it. Or am I wrong with that?
No, that is absolutely true. However, you don't ever want your emotional baggage to cause you to respond to the client.
Oh, okay. All right.
So like another example would be if I had been through a divorce or my husband cheated on me. If I hadn't done the emotional work behind that, when the client that sits in front of me starts talking about her affair, my emotions come up, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, he's a jerk, and oh my God, I can't believe that. And, because my emotional trauma is triggering me. And so I'm not able to be a neutral party and help the client work through it if my own baggage isn't cleaned up.
Wow.
And so that's the good part about her program is, she makes sure that your own emotional baggage is taken care of, and you're never in a situation where you have an issue with your client, as well as you're fully trained, doing the Gestalt work on a client. You don't ever want to be in a position where, you open the wound for the client and then you're not able to close them back up. Wow. Because you don't ever want the client to leave and it not be finished. Mm-hmm. You don't want to ever leave them open and raw and send them out into the real world. You need to be able to complete that process for them so that they're whole again.
I think that's brilliant, and I think that is something that a lot of psychotherapists will not do. I think I don't want to put down anybody. People do their own thing, but I always thought, because I've been to a million of them, Andrea, I've been to probably about, over 50 psychiatrists, psychologists. I still don't know the difference. But I know psychotherapists will talk about things, and that never helped me. But, yeah, I mean, the ones that I've been to some really bad ones, and they said, when I started bringing something up, they would talk about them. And I guess they had the good heart to say, hey, maybe if he feels that someone else is going through it, he's not so alone. But, yeah, I know that everyone else, I know there's a million alcoholics. I know there's a million addicts of whatever. You know what I mean? So I think what you're doing is I never heard that. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because, we all bring life experiences to the table, and I'm not saying that's bad. What's bad is when the person that's in front of you has not done their emotional work with their own life experiences, because, like I said, it can easily muddy the waters. And it is good, for somebody who's an addict to see a therapist who's an addict, because they can relate. Like, they understand the struggles. They understand what's going on. They understand what's behind the addiction and things of that nature. And I'm not saying that that's the only type of therapist or person that somebody should work with if they're dealing with an addiction. Yet, you have instant credibility when you work with somebody who's walked in your shoes, right? So, for me,
right,
when I can talk to lawyers, I know what they're going through because I've walked in their shoes, right? Like, I understand the struggle of student loans, and you don't want to give up your job because it's a six-figure income and you're living in the house and keeping up with the Joneses, and your wife is a stay-at-home mom and you have 4 kids in private school and you're driving a Mercedes-Benz, and, the list goes on and on.
Yeah,
I get it.
It does.
However, underneath all of that, are you completely happy? And if you're not completely happy, like, what are you giving up? And what is dying every day inside of you because you're in a miserable job? And if nothing changes 5 years from now, a year from now, 6 months from now, where are you going to be? Are we going to be burying you because you have an addiction? Are we going to be burying you because you're overweight? Are we going to be burying you because you lost your wife and your 4 kids? I mean, the list goes on and on of things I can tell you that you're going to end up losing as a result of being in that position. You're going to have student loans that, somebody's going to be paying for if you're dead, right?
Right.
Like, what's the cost of you staying in that position?
Your story, I think, is amazing because, here you are. I mean, you have the dream job, you have the dream talent, you are, making a difference, and you're affecting people's lives, but yet it's not enough. And
that's the other thing I think that people just assume is that being a lawyer is some grandiose job. And I can tell you 9 times out of 10, if you talk to any lawyer, they're not high-fiving strangers that it's a grandiose job. Now, there are some people that are, wiping their rear end with, $100 bills. But for the most part, most of us are not doing that, especially criminal defense lawyers. Like, most of the times I'm calling my clients going, I'm going to have to withdraw from your case if you don't pay your bill because I just cannot continue to work for free.
Oh, my God. That's tough. And you probably develop a relationship, and it's hard to do that.
Yeah, it absolutely is hard. And then, the clients are like, well, you're hanging me out to dry, and you're leaving me high and dry, and how can you do this? And I'm like, do you go to your job and work for free?
Exactly.
Yet somehow you expect I should do that.
And they're like,
well,
know
you're
what
a
you mean.
lawyer.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
And I'm like, just because I'm a lawyer does not mean I'm rich. Like, I don't have a hospital that pays me whether you pay your insurance bill or not, or whether you have insurance or not. Like, we don't have that option in the lawyer world. We don't get paid by insurance companies. We don't get paid by hospitals. Now, obviously, if you work for a firm, the firm is potentially paying your lawyer, and the firm is eating the money. But when you own the firm, like, I eat what I kill. And if I'm not killing anything, I'm not eating.
Wow. I mean, that's as honest as you get. I mean, that right there is, it takes a lot of integrity to do what you do because you feel an attachment to these people, but yet nobody works for free. And it doesn't matter what you do. Everyone has to make a living. And, as much as you care about these people, you're not their mother. You're not their best friend. And that's tough. I mean, because with the public defender, they're probably going to get buried, right?
Well, it's sad. However, the public defender system is rough because those people are overworked and underpaid, and unfortunately, you're a file on the pile, and you may or may not get spoken to before your appearance in court. And they might be talking to you at the podium, attempting to tell you what the plea deal is or what's going to happen, and that might be the only time you see them.
It's incredible.
And it's sad.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way the system is because, here you are. I mean, you've studied so much. I mean, to pass that bar, I understand that's like a 2 or 3 day thing where you write a bunch of, like 10 essays or something like that. I don't know. The blue book, I just used to draw in. I couldn't write essays in there. But I heard that it's a crazy test. And you know what?
I think I killed more brain cells than I ever care to count.
Guys, I was so enthralled here. Andrea M. Hall. Go to get some information. Go to witherswhisper.com. That's witherswhisper.com. And I'm glad to have her with me for a bunch of times because I'll stop, after asking her all these questions. Next time we'll talk about Gestalt therapy because that is so cool. I love horses, and it's something that's so cool. Andrew, before I let you go, I got to ask you one thing. You clearly are someone who exists and works and does everything they can to help other people. There's a lot of younger people that listen to the program that would love to just be successful, and they don't really know where they want to throw their hat. They don't really know, but they know they want to be successful at something. Now, here you are, 2 different things you're extremely successful at. What type of advice would you give to younger people just starting out, earning their wings to be successful?
Well, first of all, I think having a coach is huge. People themselves need accountability because we're the last people to take care of ourselves. So, going to the gym is a perfect example. At the beginning of the year, everyone's New Year's resolution or a significant portion of the population is, I'm going to lose weight, right?
Always.
Gym memberships skyrocket. By February, 15th, most of the people aren't going to the gym anymore because life gets in the way. And so I find when someone has a coach and can help them set goals, and goals that they really, truly want, not goals that their wife wants, not goals that their mom and dad see them having or, that they thought that they should have because everybody in their family for generations has been a doctor or a lawyer and they really want to be an artist and play the piano or sing or paint, whatever it is, right?
Yep.
Set goals that are meaningful for them that they can get and they can shoot for and have a coach to help them get there because I have been more successful in my life, and I have a coach now. Most times in my life, I've had a coach, and I get stuff accomplished because not that I'm not a determined type A personality and do things on my own. However, I just find when I'm accountable to somebody else that I make stuff happen and it's easier for me to manifest things. So I have, the next round of coaching clients I'm looking for right now so that we can knock out the next 90 days before the end of the year to get people to where they want to be. To make the last quarter of the year successful. So right now I'm looking for some coaching clients that are willing to move and willing to be confronted. I'm not one of those coaches that coddle people. I am confrontational, and I'm going to make you get to where you say that you want to go.
Love it.
Because that's what you said you wanted.
Love that.
So, yeah.
If they go to witherswhisper.com to get more information?
Yep, they can set up a free 30-minute consultation with me where we can talk about what they're looking for, whether they want to set 1 goal or 4 goals. Like I said, I look at 4 areas of their life, and that's their mental, their spiritual, their emotional, and their physical side. And that can be whether that's personal goals or business goals. and we set those goals and we work through them for the next 90 days. If they call and schedule time with me for that 30-minute exploratory session where we discover what they're looking for and how I can help them, and they want to move forward, my normal coaching packages are $3,000 for 90 days, but if they would sign up after 24 hours after our call, then I would give it to them for $2,750.
Wow, that's a bargain right there. I mean, you're getting so much. I mean, someone who's been through it, and that's where you learn. And I would like to have no other coach than someone who I can respect and knows what I've been through. So, Andrea M. Hall, go to witherswhisper.com, and you're definitely one of the world's most amazing people, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
All right, Casey. Have a great evening.
Okay, good night.
Thanks. Bye-bye.